Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, class. So, if you remember from last week's adventures, well, it's been about 3 weeks now, probably as the crow flies. You will remember this handout from the Project Theater, ground plan, front elevation, and furniture. We left off at front elevation construction, which, if you remember from class, looks something a little like this. All your walls should be upright and glued in place at this point in time. If they are not, I will upload a video demonstrating such techniques as time allows. So, let's begin. Materials you will need for this project are as follows: Super 77 or any variant of spray adhesive, tacky glue, super glue, scotch tape, scissors, any kind of marking device such as a pencil or pen, extra blades, and of course, our trusty X-Acto knife. We should, at this point, have taken this handout and, with our Super 77, adhered it to our pal, the Bristol tablet. Remember, Bristol comes in many different shapes and sizes. This large pad happens to be 11 by 14. Most of you probably have found the smaller pad, which is 9 by 12. Remember that when adhering the handout to the Bristol, you're going to want to coat evenly of the Super 77 spray to both sides of the Bristol and then both on the back side of the handout. And through the magic of television, I have already completed this task. Remember, if you do have to use your Super 77, open a window, do it outside. Make sure it's well ventilated because it's pretty stinky, right? So, let me clear some objects out of the way and we'll begin. This particular video will focus solely on the chair information, and then I will upload videos following and according to each one of these separate pieces. Oh, my friends, I've also forgotten, now that I'm clearing, you'll probably want your ruler. Cork back is the way to go. So, you note here that I've given you 6 chairs, but if you reference your ground plan, you will note that there are only 2 required of the project. I've given you more because I know at some point you might cut a leg by accident, you might cut the back off by accident. When you receive these documents, I'd ask you to make photocopies because it'd be better for everybody involved. If you were absent this day and are just now receiving this information, please make a series of copies in case you happen to miscut 6 separate chairs. You'll be happy if you have extras. They'll also come in useful later in the semester as we move forward to the Antigone project. So, I've got a lot of extra information here that I'm working with. So, the tool with which I want to use in order to clear out some extra space is either going to be our trusty X-Acto knife, but I also know that some of you are very comfortable using the scissor. Now, if you can get as accurate with the scissor as you can with the X-Acto knife, feel free to use it. For now, I will use this pair of scissors to remove the information with which I want to work on. Just like preschool, cut straight lines and be careful while using them. This information I will set aside for a later moment. Here we are. This chair has been represented to you in a flat pattern style. So the idea is that we are going to cut out the chair just on the outline. Once it's cut, I will show you how to score it, right? If you remember, scoring is slightly breaking the surface tension of the Bristol paper to allow it to fold in a pre-prescribed direction. So I'm just going to cut this guy out here and we'll begin. If you can, when removing this information, go ahead and get a little extra work done. So you see this line here from leg to leg. Let's go ahead and take care of that line right now. So if I take the scissors right across the base point of that chair, it's clear and I don't have to worry about cutting it later. Set this aside. Set these aside for later because you never know when you're going to need them. As I begin this process, I'm going to go ahead and work my way through this with the X-Acto blade because it is what I am comfortable with. I would suggest that you also practice as we move through the semester with the X-Acto knife because it is a better precision tool than our old friend the scissors. I'm going to begin this process by cutting each one of these straights. Let's see, get a little better image here, right? So each one of these ideas here, I'm going to cut those out. When we cut, keep your fingers behind the blade and as far away as you possibly can. You might remember my story about the hospital. Don't be me. Right? So here we go. Right down the outside outline of this piece of furniture. You're going to have these scraps. Go ahead and kick them off to the side. Don't need them at the moment. Foot to foot, go ahead and cut that line straight across. If you don't feel comfortable cutting those straight lines freehand, as always, trusty corkback will lead the way. That being said, corkback on the leg, remove the waste. All right, so here we go. Now that I've got these pieces removed, I'm going to go ahead and leave some extra here, which will make it easier for me to hold on to the piece until I can't hold on anymore, as it were. So the next point I'm going to come in and remove the information is I want to get rid of the space between each leg. Go ahead and leave this. Let's not worry about that. Let's worry about removing the space between the legs under the chair. Lulu, Dad's teaching. All right, gang, so as I was digging in there to make that cut through the legs, I just heard my blade snap. So right now, there's a very flat and blunt tip at the end of this blade, which isn't conducive to good cutting, which makes it dangerous. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and change out this blade really quick and then continue on in the process. Right, so if your knife is like mine, either unscrews in the back or you might have a grip at the front end, right? Remove that. I happen to have this bit of information to store my blades when they're dead, right? It slips right in the side here and it's gone and safe. If you remember, we're trying to protect our garbage workers and the people that handle our trash, perhaps your roommate or your mother or your father, right? Dead blades, make sure they're stored away someplace safe, like this box or an empty bottle. Blade slips back in, same way you took it out. Grab the back end and tighten. So, before the blade catastrophe, we left off with slicing inside the legs and the struts here. And look what I've just done. I broke it. I broke it, ladies and gentlemen. Put off to the side. Start again. Cutting these 90s. Careful to stay just to the outside of the line. Clear all the dead information, right? Now, you can see here, right, at the chair, there's just a little bit of a curve there. So when removing that information, just go ahead and take that straight line from here to there. And straight line. So you're going to leave yourself with this kind of cross shape with a little extra scrap material here on the back end. Go ahead and leave that for now. It'll help you maneuver the piece until you're done. So let's get back to where I messed up previously. This negative space inside of the leg struts. Make a nice straight line. And careful as you come across. Stop before you get to the corner and then make sure that your blade is upright as you come into the corner, and that will help you not slice the leg off as I previously just did. Right, nice slow pull. Lift the blade up and slowly drag it into that corner. And if we're lucky, that little piece will pop right out. Remember, I say this all the time, it's not a race. Take your time. Take your time. Just focus on where your blade ends and where the journey of the knife terminates. It's going to be right in that corner. There. Now we have this basic shape. Before we do anything else, we're going to do a couple quick scores, 4 to be precise. So we are going to score this top line at the chair's edge. Once the surface has been scored, we will flip the chair. And on the back side, we're going to score from the back of the leg on the right side to the back of the leg on the left side. Right to left, left to right. Dealer's choice. So, here we go. Scoring, not cutting, this line at the edge of the chair. Remember, scoring is not a full cut. It is a light drag of the knife from point A to point B. The scoring allows us to break the surface tension of the material we're working with, which will allow this leg, once everything is said and done, to fold down, fold down, fold down. So now you have a basic shape. It looks like this. We'll glue that down in a minute once we have arranged the backsplat on the chair here. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that right now. I'm going to cut the shape out, and once that shape is cut, that is when I'm going to come back and score on the backside. So hang on real tight. If you remember when we were talking about curved lines and the best way to cut them, remember it's short, straight lines, and that'll do the job. Keeping your fingers away from the blade. I know it's getting a little tight here, but if I keep my fingers over here, I can see where the blade is here, my finger is here. Everything feels safe about the action I'm doing. If it ever feels unsafe, you are probably doing it wrong. So, there are these two little ears on either side of the chair here. Right in here. Now, instead of trying to curve those away, what I'm going to do is make a straight cut at the bottom and a straight cut at the top. So you will come in with the knife this way, cut that, and then cut that. Here we go. And those should just fall right away. So, we've already scored our legs here. Right? Now, we want the back splat of the chair to move forward. So the way we do that, if you remember from the walls that we previously worked on in class, same concept, right? So if we score the back side of this chair from point A to point B, you can give a little tip tap, a little stab, and pick it up. Now the back splat of this chair will move forward, just like that. So now it's like someone sat a little too heavy, right? Smushed the chair on the ground, but we'll fix that here in 1 second. You can use either tacky glue or the super glue, if you remember rightly, blue top. I'm going to go ahead and use the super glue because then we'll be done with the project just a little faster, okay? Using the back of the chair to hold on to, go ahead and fold those legs into position with your super glue. Careful not to get it everywhere. Just give it a little drag on that up and down leg. Little bit of a drag on the up and down leg. Two front legs are going to fold into place. meeting at the corners, if all goes well. You have to hold this for 1 second, or maybe 10. Maybe give it a little blow. Make sure that you don't glue yourself to yourself, because it's a problem every time it happens. Now, this glue should have taken by now. Let's see how we do. There we go. Nice fresh glue like that dries within 10 seconds. So now those legs are locked into place and they're good to go. You will note that our little buddy in the back here, this is still just a little woodgy, right? We don't want that chair to fall over on us. So what we're going to do is go ahead and tip that up into the upright chair-like position. And then what we're going to do is take some of our super glue, and where that crease is that you've made here, where the backsplat has pushed itself forward, what we want to do is just put a little bit of super glue in that crack. And what that will do is we'll lock our backsplat of the chair into place. Just over here. Sorry guys, I'm getting used to the rig. Just a little bit in the back there. Let that dry. There. You've made one chair. Remember that the ground plan calls for 2. There. Once this is dry, go ahead and put a little dab of either the super glue or the tacky glue on the 2 back legs of the chair. And you will go ahead then and you will glue that onto your ground plan already existing in your sketch model project. As always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me via my email, which you all should have, or my telephone, which you all have. Look forward to the rest of the construction videos for this white model, and I'll see you on the flip side.